Hi, I'm KFK's Creative Home. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to share with you how to make this beautiful Easter wreath for your front door for the spring and Easter season. Alright now, let's get started. Well, hello again. Welcome back. We're going to jump right in and get started with this grapevine wreath for the spring and Easter season. Forgive me for being off camera again, but here are the things that we'll be using. I've got some leaves, some greenery, flowers, and here's some little Easter sprigs. I guess I call them sprigs. I guess they look like little, what do you call those things? Oh, I've forgotten the name. Little berries, I guess. And then I have some Easter eggs. Oh, you can't see the glimmer on them. So let me step around here to the side so you can kind of see how they got a little bit of glitter on them. There we go. That's a little better. And all of these came as one flower. I broke it apart. The berries were separate. They were on a garland, and I broke those apart. And then I have these mini Easter eggs that I got from Dollar Tree, and I took an old flower form and just stuck the eggs onto the end of each stick, and I'm going to be cutting those off and separating them. So the first thing I want to do is to make my bow, because that's going to be the center of the wreath, and I want to make sure it's positioned exactly where I want it. And so I have 3 ribbons here that are from Sam's Club, and then I have this blue ribbon here at the bottom that's from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using those to make a bow. So I'm going to start with this blue one, make that the background color, and I'm going to make a 6-inch tail and 12-inch loops. So I'm measuring out to the 6-inch point on each side, and I'm doing it again on the, I guess that's my right side, maybe your left as you're looking at this. And I was thinking to make 2 loops when I realized I was almost at the end of my ribbon, so I decided to go ahead and just use it, because you know when you end up with those straggler pieces left, they never get used. So I'm going to make a 3-loop bow, and then I'm going to take that other tail and make it 6 inches when I get a minute there. Yep, grab the scissors, do a quick snip, and we have used up the rest of that roll of ribbon. So my next ribbon is this, I guess, kind of plaid ribbon. It's got a lot of colors in there to pull the colors together that I am using in my wreath. So I've got a nice selection of pink, blue, green, and some of it looks kind of yellow actually too. So I'm going to start by putting the tail to the other side, since I've got 2 tails going to one end of the bow. And this time I'm going to just make my 2 loops. They're going to be slightly smaller than that 6-inch, just so that the loops get smaller each time, and it's easier to see the loops behind in the back as you build up your bow. Alright, so we got that one done. Let's move on to the next ribbon. So next we have this yellow ribbon with white polka dots, and I'm again going to do a 2-loop bow. And here in this lighting is showing up, I guess it's a kind of greenish tint to it, but it is a pure and bright yellow ribbon. It's very pretty, very nice bright color to add some life to this bow. And I'm going to do this 2 loops, and then we're going to see what color we choose next. Now, if you enjoy these wreath making videos, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. And if you're not a family member, please consider clicking that button and ringing the bell so that you'll be notified each time a new video is released. So this next ribbon we're working with is green and white stripe, and it's got a nice sheen to it. That's the word. I was going to say glitter, but it's not glitter, it's sheen. It's a really beautiful ribbon. That too came from Sam's Club. So as I was thinking to make another 2-loop bow, I decided at the end, no, hold up, let me make another small loop so that there'll be a circular loop in the center of my bow. So that's what I did, and then I took that last end of the ribbon and cut it at the 6 inches, so I'll have a tail. Okay, let's move on to the next step. So next we're going to lift our bow up off of the bow maker and swing a zip tie around it, and we're going to pull it snug but not completely tight once I get it through there. And then we're going to start shaping our bow, one of the favorite things to do. So I just work my way around the bow, making sure that each loop is kind of fluffed out and that the tails are kind of curved, shaped in a curved fashion and backwards, and making sure that the ends will kind of be straight so that I can clip them with a dovetail fashion and get our bow completed. So next I've brought my Grapevine Wreath back to the table here, and I have another second zip tie that I wrapped around the bow the exact same way I wrapped the initial one around, and now I'm sliding the end of that zip tie through the Grapevine Wreath form, and once I get it to go through and come out on the other side, I'm gonna put it through the head of the zip tie and pull it tight and secure so that our bow is stationary on the wreath form and it won't be moving around. So I use a pair of flat, what do you call those, flat pliers? They're jewelry tools that I use for my zip ties simply because I just have them on hand. So I use the flat pliers to pull it tight, and then the wire cutters to clip the edge of that zip tie off. So as you can see, I'm now just shaping my bow again because, of course, handling it, you tend to flatten it a little bit. And now that it's on the actual wreath form, it'll be easier to get it shaped and get every color kind of separated where I want it, so that, two of the same colors aren't right next to each other. And then it'll also be easier to clip my dovetails at the end, because you'll kind of see how the where the tails fall. So next I'm going to do the flowers and leaves first, all my greenery, and then I'll come back and clip those tails, because then I'll really be able to see where I want them to fall. So I put together a few different types here, and I'm just clipping them apart so that I can add them in piece by piece, and trying it first to see how it would look. I know some people just add that glue and toss them into the grapevine form, but I still need a little practice, so sometimes I have to kind of actually look and see where it's going to go, and then I come back and glue it and actually insert it in that location. So like I said, I have a few different types of greenery here, and I'm going to just go back and forth for a minute and add it into the grapevine form, and then we'll move on to the next step. While you're watching this, again, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. And if you're not a family member, think about joining and clicking that red button and ringing the bell so you'll be notified when other videos are released. So as I'm adding this greenery in, my thought is to just try to spread it around the wreath form. So I'm making sure there's some on top, some centered, and some on the inner circle of the wreath form, so that when you're looking at it from different angles, you'll see greenery filling it in. Next, I have this kind of flyaway greenery stem here. What I like about it is it's a brighter color than my other leaves, and it's kind of fluffy and airy. Has a old different texture, adds a lot of dimension because it's kind of going every which kind of way. So it's no longer, it's lifting that wreath from a 2D effect to a 3D effect, because it's now has some greenery coming out at you. So that adds a lot to a wreath when you get that dimension like that. So I'm gonna get this in here and get some of the leaves kind of shaped around it, and then we'll move on to the next piece. Now sometimes when you're working, these little leaves or the flowers will pop off of their stems, so just add a little bit of glue and put it right back on that stem, and that glue will secure it so that it won't pop off like that again. So next step we're going to do is add in some flowers, and it's not a whole lot, just a couple to give it a little more color, and that's going to start taking the color out of the bow and spreading it throughout the rest of the wreath. So I'm going to finagle this until I get it into that grapevine wreath form, and then we'll be ready to move to the next step. So now that I have that done on one side, I want to balance it out by also doing the same thing on the other side of the bow. So I'm going to start again with my greenery. Again, making sure some goes. See how that one will end up being on the top once the wreath is hung on your door. And then the next one, you can see I'm putting more toward the front and center. So that'll be the one that'll be facing you when you're looking at the wreath. And then I'm probably going to take another one and put it toward the inside of the circle, and then another one further down on the very front of the wreath. That just gives you more coverage and lets those flowers spread out or kind of spring out and look nice and full. And now, just like on the first side of my wreath, I had that green flyaway greenery. I am now adding that to this side. I really love this. I don't know what you call these branches or like a grass, but I think they're so pretty, and I just love the added dimension they give because they're lighter color. They pop out from that other greenery. So I'm going to get that situated in here. And then just like on the other side, I'm also going to add a few flowers. So here's my flowers. I'm going to put that in. And then we'll move on to some of the fun part. We have some berries to add in, and we have some eggs to add in too. And so here we have our first glance at the wreath, and you can see it's coming along, but we've got a lot of areas with just greenery that we want to fill in with some more color so that the colors in that bow spread throughout all of the floor areas. So I have some Easter eggs. They got the ones I showed you with the nice glittery colors on them. I'm going to add those in here and there. I have some large ones. I think I put 3 on each side of the bow. And then I'm going to come back and add some small ones. And the little berry springs I also have. So what I love about these eggs, again, color, shape, dimension, all the things you want to add to your wreath to give it life. So it's not just a 2D effect, just looking flat. So that gives it a lot of vibrancy and really brings it to life. And while I continue working here, I hope everyone is enjoying their winter coming to an end and spring starting to jump into the atmosphere. I know I'm loving it. I am enjoying my sporadic warm days. They come and go, but I'm enjoying every last one. and I look forward to getting back out into the yard and doing a few things. Not looking forward to the work part, but some of it is fun. You know, when you're planting flowers and doing a little gardening, that can be fun. So next we have our little berries, and again, pit berries. I was trying to remember the name of these things. I'm sorry. These little pit berries in different spring colors. Um, I'm going to spread those out and add them into this wreath. So again, I get a whole lot of dimension out of these little teeny sprigs of color. They're going to pop out of that greenery too. It took me, oh boy, what, 15 minutes to remember the name of these things. But at any rate, I'm going to add these in, and as you'll see them just kind of bring more of that green area to life. And while I'm doing that, I want to thank you all who've been supporting me. The last Easter wreath I made had a little bunny and then carrots that said Happy Easter. I had 6. I think I'm down to 2, which is great for me because I haven't been selling wreaths very long. So I really appreciate it when you all support me and purchase the wreaths, or just let me know you like them or love them because you're purchasing them. And if you're interested in looking at what else I have, I don't have a whole lot. I've said that before, but a link to my Etsy shop is in the description box below. And hopefully I'll just be adding more and more. You know, it takes a little time to build up your inventory, especially if folks are buying them, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But okay, I'm going to continue adding in these pip berries and then we'll move on to the next thing. And now I have some yellow flowers. These are so cute. I don't even know what they're called, but I'm adding these in again into the greenery and into the spray that's coming out of the bow. And that's going to take the yellow colors from that bow and just distribute it throughout the rest of that greenery. Yellow has always been one of my favorite colors. Just love the pop and the brightness, and it's like a happy color. So I love the happiness and joy that it brings out. And I believe this is the last thing I have to add are these little miniature eggs. I took them and glued them onto some old stems I had from some previous flowers I used. And I'm just adding them into the wreath again to add more color, to take the color from the center bow and keep it distributing, keep it flowing throughout the wreath. And so I'm going to do that on both sides, and as you can see, I'm taking it even further down into the greenery so we get color all the way throughout the wreath, or at least where the florals are. We're going to leave the other side of the Grapevine Wreath bare so you can see some of that natural wood, because that is beautiful in its own way. So we will make sure some of that still is there to be seen by the eye, and then the other half is covered in our florals and bow. So I'll get those added in, and we're almost done. Now with all my greenery and flowers and eggs, all my colors added in, I go back and I'm going to trim the um, tails of my bow, and trimming them now so that they can fall exactly where I want them to fall. They will actually be used to fill in any, if I see any little empty spaces still, you can you can allow the tails to fill in those areas, or you can just trim them so that they fall exactly where you want them to kind of end on the edge of your wreath. So that's why I saved that until the end to do. So I'm going to finish trimming this up, and then I think we are almost done. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this time with me this afternoon, this evening, this morning, whenever you're watching. I look forward to spending some more time with you, creating another beautiful wreath for spring. I might do a summer one next. We'll see. All right, now, I thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll be talking with you again real soon.